So, as I mentioned, our biggest organ is our skin. But our skin isn't only as a protection layer, it is actually has a crucial role in both protecting our body, our overall health, and of course also to have disease prevention. So when we think about skincare, we really have to have a holistic perspective. And someone who has that is our next speaker, Mette Skjærbæk. She's the founder and creative director of Karmameju Bioactive Skincare. And as our last speaker spoke about nature, Mette is also a great advocate of really believing in human connection with nature. And that's why all of these ingredients are, of course, organic, nature's ingredients, and also sense-awakening fragrances. She founded this company 25 years ago when she was a fashion model in New York, and she's here to tell her story and really enrich us about the crucial and vital component of skincare. So please give it up to Mette Skjærbæk.
Hi everybody, can you hear me well? Okay, so just do like this if I need to speak louder. It's a little bit strange wearing this. No sound? But you need the headphones. So I'm so excited that we're here at the first Copenhagen Health Week. How amazing, right? This is happening with so many keynote speakers and everything, and I think it's incredible you guys are here. I'm so honored that I get a chance to talk about skin health. My name is, like you heard, Mette Skjærbæk. I this year celebrated 25 years of redefining wellness. For me, creating products has always been about creating products that makes my own life better, warmer, more comfortable, more sensorial. And yeah, it's an honor that so many people have wanted to use the products through all those years, keeping me still here on the stage. So I do skincare from a holistic approach to beauty. I like to say that I put nature into bottles. That's the only type of skincare that makes any sense to me to put onto my skin. And today, of course, we're going to talk a lot about the skin. I also do loungewear, the Scandinavian way or style, you know, those cold winter mornings, making them more comfortable and warm. We're not going to talk about that today. I've been a part of the natural health movement since the 90s in New York. I lived there for 7 years, and this big green wave came flushing in. Today, maybe we call it more biohacking or holistic health. Basically, it's all about, for me, the things that we can do to ourselves, hack the body, hack the system, for the mind and the body to feel better. So the better we can feel in our everyday life, that's what it's all about for me. I would love to talk today about aromatherapy. I would love to talk about how aromatherapy, the use of 100% natural fragrances from nature, the superpower of the plant, is now being used in hospitals around the world to relieve pain, nausea, to create general well-being, anxiety, depression, stress, insomnia. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today either. I would love to talk about dry brushing, which is such a crucial part of keeping the skin healthy. It's not going to be about that today either, but the way you can stimulate with dry brushing, the lymphatic system, the blood circulation, the nervous system, releasing oxytocin, it's incredible. I would love to talk about the gut microbiome, the skin pH. I'll touch a little bit on that. And the skin pH, how essential keeping a balanced skin pH on the skin is for both dermatologically challenged skin, dry skin, and in wound healing. So that's some of all the stuff that we're talking about over on booth 16, where the brand is, because that's not what it's going to be about today, but it's one of my big passions, or some of my big passions, and some of the things that can really be a part of making the everyday life better. Today, it's all about skin health and how essential it is for longevity. And I don't have that much time on stage, so I'm going to pull out a lot of scientific documentation about what the science says. So for me, I always want things to be backed. I want the clinical trials, I want the evidence. And I like to think of our skin, the biggest organ, as our leather. In many ways, it's like leather. It's holding and keeping the whole corpus together. And we need, in many ways, to treat it like that. And just like, I think, a pair of beautiful boots that's been worn, that's been at some parties, but that are well kept, is beautiful. So it's not that we all need to look like we're 20 years old, but keeping the skin, the leather in a good condition is what it's all about. And what's been mind-staggering for me has been how science by now really has documented that our skin is such an essential element in ensuring that disease processes are not started within the body. So this is news to many, and I think within all of the longevity talk, it's one of the things that are rarely talked about. We talk about dental health, cardio exercise, sleep, so many different things, but the skin as an essential element of not developing diseases is more new within the community at least. So one of the major studies is the Baltimore longitudinal study. It commenced in 1958 and has included thousands of men and later women, which is a little bit funny to think about that they only started with men. It's still ongoing. And some of the major findings is exactly this that I mentioned before. The changes that occur whilst we age, they don't necessarily naturally occur just from aging. They occur from disease processes that have been started for different reasons, from poor dental hygiene, from skin that's not in a good conditions, and many other things. So basically, it's these disorders that typically occur in old age from the disease processes, not from the normal aging. So the Baltimore longitudinal study are looking a lot at genetics, lifestyle, of course, and then these disease processes. And one of their statements is that weathered or unhealthy skin is emerging as a major risk factor for almost every single age-related disease, Parkinson, Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes, etc. Is this news to you guys, or did you know already? I mean, to me, this is just mind-boggling, that something as keeping our skin in a good condition is so essential for our health as we get older. So 2 days ago, I was at a goose together with Sasseline, and she had us all like connecting with our heart. You know, you can even do it now. You know, we have this beautiful heart just pounding within us. We have liver, we have kidneys, we have all these, our lungs, they're all working. And we all, if I think about them, I can be like, oh, my heart. You know, but we need to start looking at the skin in that way as well. The skin is an organ, it's breathing, it's the biggest organ that we have. So starting to consider paying that attention and love is good. Yeah, so it's all about the inflammatory processes that happens in the skin. So basically dry, unhealthy, sun-damaged skin releases a kind of a cocktail of chemicals that starts flushing around in the body. This is the disease processes earlier mentioned. So universities around the world are all looking into this, and we need to get it as something that's more common known knowledge, especially as we age. So chronologically aged skin or photo-aged skin from light, from UV, exhibits much higher expression levels of some of all these different chemicals that can go in and start the disease processes. Yeah, so it's one study after the other on a world level that's documenting this to us again and again. I think here what's incredible to think about is that a chemical process that happens from the skin being in a poor condition can go in and affect even something as far related as the heart and the brain. Yes, so basically we want to avoid the skin being a major player in us getting these diseases that we can avoid. And the good thing is that it's very simple what we need to do. So basically the buzzword is inflammaging. So aging through inflammation. And of course, this is something that's talked a lot about. We need to stop this inflammatory process in our body. In the beginning, it's good, but then it starts to go on an overdrive, eventually being too much of an inflammatory process. And the great news is that all we need to do is to moisturize. So we're not talking about high-tech bioactive skincare and fancy ingredients and all of that. We're just talking about simple moisturizing and protecting the skin with SPF. I would like to add to that, ensuring a stable skin pH. So in Denmark, we have very alkaline water. Our skin pH is at a level which is slightly acidic. This is called the acid mantle. And then we go into the shower, push the pH level of our skin, and the more dermatologically challenged or dry skin we have, or the older we get, the longer it takes for the pH to get back to the normal level. So the pH is an essential part of our skin microbiome. For healthy skin from within, we really need to look at the gut microbiome as well. There's a whole little village of 2 kilos of different bacteria down here, and it needs to be as broad a population as possible. We need to eat as many different fruit and vegetables and kimchis and kombuchas, etc., to really feed the gut. It's called it's talked about as the second brain, and is so essential for our skin that we have a well-functioning second brain right here in the gut. So one of the big bad guys when it comes to premature aging of the skin is the sun. And I think that this statement, that UV exposure seems to be responsible for 80% of visible facial aging, is quite incredible. And I mean, I'm sure there's people from all around the world here, but Danish people generally really like to sunbathe. This is just like, the sun is finally here. And I know my youngest daughter, she's like, ooh, the UV is high, let me hit the sunbed. And this is just part of our upbringing in many ways. And I think because it's winter and it's dark, then we tend to think like, okay, now we need to get out and get the light. This study states that if you stayed indoors, had your vitamin D supplements, etc., so your body still kept healthy, but didn't actually let your skin be touched by UV light, that you would hardly look any different when you were 80, and only from then it would start. So what happens at a microscopical level is that it gets thicker, the skin, it gets more tangled, it's a destruction of the elastin and the collagen. So this chemical transformation that happens when our skin is damaged, the inflammation, UV light or sunlight is such a naughty friend that we have there when it comes to that. So basically we need to hydrate and nourish a group of 65 plus people, men and women, moisturize their skin twice a day for 3 years. And this is now talking about a whole other release of diseases, but the result was that the moisturizing group had not deteriorated in cognitive function at all over the 3 years, where the group of people that had not moisturized had a decline in their cognitive function. So even with our old people that are, well, it's not saying 65 is old, I'm 50, I'm slowly getting there myself, but basically saying that, even saying to our parents, you need to moisturize. This is such an important part of actually keeping your brain healthy. And it's so simple and it's beautiful. So hydrating and nourishing. So hydrating ingredients is ingredients that binds the moisture, both attracts it from the air, but also pulls it from within and locks it into the system. Can be ingredients like aloe vera, glycerin, hyaluronic acid. And then to nourish the leather, we need the plant oils, the plant butters, etc., at least from a nature-based skincare company. When you work on the more conventional ingredients, there's a lot of other ingredients, but within the type of skincare I do, it's basically the hydrators and it's the plant oils. That's what we need. So it's simple. So if you don't have, you come home and you're like, oh, now my skin almost feels dry and itchy after hearing all this talk, grab the olive oil in the kitchen. Basically, we just need to keep the leather well functioning. The skin pH that I've mentioned a few times, our acid mantle, it's the skin's immune defense system. We can so during the pandemic, when we were all using hand sanitizers, that's very alkaline. So every single time we put hand sanitizer on our hands, we push the pH value. We push the pH value. So much of that soreness and redness that we had from our hands was actually a pH value that had been pushed. The same with once you go into the shower, you push the pH value. Certain washes and definitely detergents for cleaning your home. So be mindful of your skin pH. It's such an essential part of the microbiome, the bacteria that need to live on the skin, that they have good living conditions to be within. Yeah. So I mentioned it earlier, but dry skin, dermatologically challenged skin, and for wound healing, it is such an essential element. So again, mentioning my youngest daughter, she's 14, her regeneration is full top. When she's out of the shower, within a short period of time, her skin pH will be back. For somebody like me that is older and has drier skin, I need to help it back. We have a product, it's not to talk about that today, but that can help the skin come back. And otherwise, it's just being mindful about the fact that long showers, even more long baths in the bathtub, will really push your skin pH. The gut health, I mentioned as well. I think this is really one of the key elements of how we need to start looking at how we really take care of our body. This is such an essential part of how the whole system functions. And it's quite beautiful because in many ways, and as the talk was on the stage before I came up here, it's all about nature. Nature has so many of the answers for us. And if you eat food that still looks like when nature made it, an apple, some almonds, whatever, but this whole array of beautiful things that's out there for us, that's what will feed the bacteria, especially if you've been on antibiotics. This is a killer for this whole population of bacteria in the stomach. After you may have been on antibiotics, you really need to do a swap where you put some attention into like rebuilding the population again. Yeah, so at Karmameju we have a slogan, and it's if you have a bathroom, you have a spa. So you don't need to go to fancy hotels, fancy spas. You don't need a big, beautiful bathroom to do it. Even those, I'll always like to say from when I was living on Østerbro, these little bathrooms that you almost have to back into. A nice bit of music, a nice cup of tea, a nice candle, even if you're tired, just filing your nails, but also just taking that time to moisturize, to hydrate, to touch your skin, releasing oxytocin, sending signals to the brain. Yes, I'm worth it. There's time for me. I can only, it's just such a big recommendation for me to really take that time out for yourself. We also have a statement saying, do you, and do you was never, ever an egotistical project like, oh, I'm just going to go do me now. Doing you and making sure that you're cared for, that you're tended to, that you're nurtured for, is a way where you improve your own happiness. And there's nothing that the people who love us would like more than that we are happy. This will mean that they get a much better version of us as me being a mother or a friend or a sister or whatever I may be. I'll be a much, much nicer version of me if I'm happy and I take the time out for myself. So next time you consider skipping out on having time to put on the body lotion or having time to put on the body oil or whatever it may be, please think of me. Please think of the skin health and the longevity journey that it is to actually nurture and care for our skin. It's a beautiful organ. Yeah, I think especially the experiment with the 65-plus-year-olds for 3 years, twice a day, is a beautiful example. Of course, our skin is an organ. Anything that we put onto it will also be a part of the internal body, so consider the type of products that you use on your beautiful body as well. That's all I had today, and I hope you'll have an amazing health week, and thank you so much for coming and listening to my words. Thank you.
Mette, thank you so much for taking us on the journey of skin.
Yes.
I just thought, as a little summary, what are sort of your 3 must-go-tos when it comes to your own, self-care routine?
Okay, so I'd like to split it into like one that happens from within. So that's making my smoothie in the morning. I call them crazy smoothies because I put all sorts of weird things in there. Now, the other day I was just cooking a lot of white beans because if I don't cook them in advance, I just won't remember to do the soaking 12 hours before, whatever. So smoothies for me is a way to get so many good nutrients into the body in one easy go. On the surface of the skin, I'd say dry brushing, really brushing the skin, the whole way of activating the skin in the morning and actually taking time to say good morning to myself. That's also a thing. I've done it since I was 19 and I can't do without it. And then it's the skincare. And I really like to say, check in with your skin. What does it need today? Now suddenly, like, we're starting to put on the radiator, you'll feel more dryness in the skin. Maybe you need a few extra drops of the face oil. Nobody knows your skin better than you. And checking in with your skin and feeling what's the need today. Do I actually need to put on double serum to get the hydration levels going? But check in with your skin and listen to it. It has such an important story to tell.
And I also think what you mentioned, the whole thing of self-pampering and self-love, even if we all live hectic lives or we don't, it really is part of this process of accepting ourselves and really appreciating the body that we're in, which is vital. We all look different, we're all unique. So it's really, thank you for sharing that important quest of skin health, but also how you really have a self-care routine. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Best of luck going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.